Dear Sir or Madam, my name is Łucja and together with Krzysztof, WOSEK, we represent the University of Economics in Katowice from Poland. The topic of our speech is the onboarding process in terms of multi-generational teams of employees. We invite you to listen to the presentation. Introduction. In the modern labor market, there are representatives of 4 generations: baby boomers, X, Y, and Z. They differ in terms of their values, needs, motivations, lifestyle, approach towards work, communication method, etc. Each generation brings a unique set of knowledge, skills and talents to an organization. The representatives of different generations in organizations can become an important source of teamwork success, provided that it is perceived in terms of an opportunity, not a threat, both by the managers and members of various teams. It is essential to understand and respect the generational differences between employees and the appropriate use of the teamwork potential of each employed person, regardless of age, professional experience or job seniority. Therefore, the onboarding process is important, because properly conducted, it brings benefits to both newly hired employees and the entire company. Characteristics of generations. In the modern labor market, there are representatives of 4 generations: baby boomers, X, Y, and Z. Baby boomers are the generation born during the post-war baby boom. In their opinion, the best way to professional success is hard work and laborious climbing up the career ladder. Their motto is, "I live to work." Their main values are obeying rules, respect for authority, solidarity and hierarchical loyalty. Modern 50-plus employees are most afraid of losing their jobs due to their age and limited knowledge of modern technology. People born after 1965 are referred to as the X generation. They are convinced that the path to professional success requires good education and appropriate competencies. Their values are independence and self-sufficiency. They show great responsibility and commitment to the tasks they carry out. They are highly collaborative and feel good at working with people with a different style of work and communication. Taught by their parents' experience, they work to live, not live to work, and work-life balance is important to them. In most companies, representatives of the baby boomers and X generations currently hold managerial positions, make strategic decisions on the development of the companies, and manage employees from the younger Y and Z generations. People born in the 80s and 90s are representatives of the Y generation, the so-called millennium. They are very well educated and strongly focused on success. They engage in collective activities, value partnership relations, participative decision-making, challenges and development of skills. They believe that work is important, but not the most, and they know how to distinguish work from private life, work-life balance. They expect task-oriented work and great freedom in performing their duties. They are characterized by tolerance, entrepreneurship and materialism. Hard work is not a value for them. They postpone the decision to become independent. In turn, the youngest Z generation are people born after 1995. Their oldest representatives are now entering the labor market. It is difficult to say what employees they will be, but it is worth pointing out their most important features. They do not know the world without computers, mobile phones and the internet. They are fluent in digital technologies. They are growing up in the world with no clear boundary between the private and professional life. They are strongly oriented towards challenges and achievements, They are creative, multitasking, expect great flexibility, rapid gratification and immediate feedback. From childhood, they have been prepared to compete and succeed. Researchers of this generation are afraid that it will be a generation of individualists, loners, and people focused on self-development and satisfying their own ambitions. They are described as a generation without a loyalty gene towards employers. Representatives of this generation declare that they will leave organizations that do not provide them with interesting, challenging jobs and real development opportunities. The so-called soft skills, verbal communication, adapting to the organizational culture and accepting the hierarchy are considered weak points of this generation. The situation in the labor market makes modern organizations become spaces where employees of different generations can coexist with each other. And the age difference between the oldest and the youngest can reach even several decades. On this basis, a number of challenges arise for managers and HR departments. The essence and meaning of the onboarding process. Almost every company declares that its most important resources are people in the broad sense. The introduction of an employee is a stage at which the newcomer enters the organization, thus acquiring the knowledge and skills necessary for independent performance of professional duties. The implementation process generates many costs that should be treated as an investment that brings a wide range of benefits in the long run. Onboarding is one of the most important and strategic elements of the human resource management process, and its proper implementation brings benefits to both the newly employed and the entire company. The onboarding process, also known as organizational socialization or employee adaptation, can be defined as the sum of activities in which new employees are helped to quickly and smoothly adapt to the norms of the company. Another definition of onboarding states that it is a process much more complex than the mere introduction of an employee to the organization. According to the above definition, the goal of onboarding is to make the new employee begin productive and effective performance of professional duties as soon as possible. The source literature also says that onboarding is a necessity of strategic importance for the development of the company. The definition proposed by S. Freer, 2007, considers the onboarding process as a kind of holistic approach that connects people, employees, processes and technology. The above-mentioned connector aims to optimize the influence of the new employee on the company. The presented goal of this holistic connection puts particular emphasis on efficiency and effectiveness. In the definition by H.J. Klein and the co-authors, it can be noticed that onboarding is presented as a process of transforming new employees into fully fledged team members who correspond to the organizational culture. To summarize the short analysis of the definition of onboarding, it should be noted that they all have common elements like actions, goals and assumptions that should be characteristic of a proper employee onboarding process. The introduction of a new employee is crucial for several reasons. The first is the fact that the organization engages large financial resources at the stage of finding and recruiting employees, which does not allow for the abandonment of the employee implementation process at a further stage. The second reason, which is particularly important from the perspective of the implementation of standards and job goals, is the fact that onboarding programs allow a new employee to start their highly effective work as soon as possible. The third reason why it is worth carrying out the onboarding process in a company is the fact that during its implementation the level of the employee's involvement in the performed duties increases. The goal of the onboarding processes is to create positive and attractive experiences for new employees. The basic tasks of each onboarding process include reducing stress and its symptoms, as well as gradually increasing the employee's trust towards the elements of the organization in the broad sense. Onboarding adapted to the age of employees. Each generation stands out from the others in many ways. The differences affecting the professional area include, for example, expectations, experience, values, the level of education, having a family, lifestyle or work ethic. All the above-mentioned differences between the generations can significantly affect the functioning of companies and industries. Accordingly, understanding what distinguishes generations from each other can definitely help companies customize onboarding for newly hired employees. The same onboarding process for employees of all generations may cause many difficulties related, for example, to the possibilities of acquiring knowledge, the interactivity of the process and technological solutions, the mismatch of the buddies, the work colleagues supporting the new employee, or unfulfilled expectations that were set before the implementation program. The first difficulty that should be eliminated is the assimilation capacity of the new employee. During the onboarding process, a lot of information is transferred, which can overwhelm the new employee. Therefore, it is worth remembering that employees from different generations will have different learning opportunities. The second issue is the interactivity of the onboarding process. Many sources say that technology can significantly improve the process of employee implementation because it allows for quick information finding and its subsequent assimilation. However, it is worth paying attention to the fact that technology cannot replace interaction with another human being, and this interaction definitely increases the quality of the implementation process. It should also be emphasized that some generations may find it difficult to master the online implementation process. Another issue related to the differences in the implementation process of different generations of employees may be the selection of a mentor, also known as a buddy. A buddy should be a well-chosen person because if the age difference between the buddy and the new employee is small, unconscious competition and comparisons can occur. The situation is similar when the age difference is too big because then there may be a parent-child relationship leading to defiance instead of a deepened willingness to learn. The last of the above-mentioned difficulties that may occur in the process of onboarding employees from different generations may be unfulfilled expectations. F.S. Gale points out that onboarding that has been conducted in companies so far may not be enough because the youngest generation in the labor market, Z generation, has completely different expectations. For instance, they are associated with the almost immediate start of work due to professional ambitions and receiving feedback in the so-called real time, which can cause some kind of difficulties. Conclusion. Based on the analysis of the characteristics of 4 generations in companies, 3 key challenges regarding the areas of their cooperation can be identified. These are universal communication, multi-dimensional flow of information, long-term cooperation, strategic partnership and mutual trust, sense of responsibility, building joint commitment. A properly conducted adaptation process will have a proper impact on shaping communication in a multi-generational team, which will then translate into proper cooperation and involvement of employees. Having analyzed the source literature, the following research hypotheses can be proposed. H1. The onboarding process has a positive impact on communication in a multi-generational team. H2. The onboarding process has a positive impact on cooperation in a multi-generational team. H3. The onboarding process has a positive impact on commitment in a multi-generational team. H4. The assimilation capacities of a new employee facilitate the onboarding process in a multi-generational team. H5. Technology facilitates the onboarding process in a multi-generational team. H6. The role of buddies facilitates the onboarding process in a multi-generational team. H7. The new employee's expectations facilitate the onboarding process in a multi-generational team. Therefore, modern organizations must be prepared to meet the expectations of new employees coming from different generations. Moreover, organizations must design onboarding processes in a personalized way, starting them with understanding the expectations, values, attitudes and behaviors, as well as the mindset of employees of a given generation. Thank you very much for your attention.